All right. Well, welcome everybody. I know we'll probably have a few people that are still trickling in, but I just wanted to start and say thank you so much for joining us today. We are thrilled that you took this time to come and talk about our programs that we have available for summer 2024. So I'm going to share a little bit about the types of programs that we have and the different on assignments that students can choose from. But then we're going to do a deeper dive into our programs that take place in Thailand and Yellowstone and on the campus of MIT. So I will be welcoming my colleagues Portia and John a little bit later to share about those programs. But first, I'll introduce myself. My name is Hannah Gilkinson. I am one of the directors here at National Geographic Student Travel. I have been designing and leading programs for the past 15 years. My background is in wildlife biology, primatology specifically, and I've helped to develop many of our programs that have a focus on conservation and science over the years. So we're going to be answering a lot of your questions over the course of this next half hour or so. But any questions that you have, please feel free to drop those in the Q&A box down below, and we'll either answer you in the chat or live at the end of the webinar. And we'll also record this. So if you would like to share it with anyone who might be interested, we'll share this out to everybody who's registered so you can pass that along. So the National Geographic student travel programs are unique educational opportunities that provide an opportunity for students to get out into the field with National Geographic explorers and to engage in their surroundings as they learn skills and explore fields such as photography, conservation science, geology, engineering and technology, and storytelling. The hope is that students on these programs return home with an explorer mindset, curious and inspired, ready to observe and engage the world around them, and with a real sense of responsibility and respect for other people, cultures, and the natural world. And this quote here, which is from one of our experts, Dr. M. Jackson, really highlights the growth that we often see from students. We have 3 different types of programs for high school students in 2024. We have exploration, university workshops, and photo workshops. And these are for students who are completing 9th through 12th grade or the equivalent. And we also have exploration programs for middle school students, and I'm going to just quickly run through these different types of programs. So our exploration category is our biggest category. We have 8 programs. They're traveling programs, generally with 16 to 24 students and 2 to 3 leaders plus the National Geographic Explorer. So when students apply for an exploration program, they pick a specific on-assignment focus. And each exploration program offers 2 on-assignments to choose from, and I'll describe those in just a little bit. Students can expect to spend part of their day with their on-assignment group and part of the day participating in whole group activities. Our university workshop is based on the campus of MIT, and it focuses on technology, engineering, and robotics, investigating all the different ways to solve problems that are facing the planet while building critical thinking and storytelling skills. So this is a larger program that John will talk a little bit about later. It has around 50 students and 6 to 8 leaders plus an explorer. And the next category is our photography workshops, and we can just pause on this slide for now. So the photo workshops are offered in Yellowstone, and these are intensive workshops where students get out into the field daily with their trip leaders and their National Geographic expert, and they're typically around 20 students. And again, John will go into detail on this one later. The middle school programs, we have 2, one in Iceland and one in Italy and Greece. And they are highly structured programs that are open to 7th and 8th graders, and students don't choose a single on-assignment focus, but rotate learning about different themes. So for all of these programs, it's really important to know that no former experience is necessary, just a desire to learn and explore. And we provide detailed packing lists, we include information on camera and field gear, and the instructors really work with the students at whatever experience level they join us at. So the themes I just mentioned, we're looking at our photography, and technology here. We've got different themes that is really the lens through which the students explore the destination. So all of the students are working towards their final projects, which could be a photo gallery of their best images if they're in photography on assignment, or a short written piece or a field journal presentation by our wildlife students. It's really a chance to get creative. They're not meant to be high pressure, but really a chance to dive into a question that the students have come with or has come to them during the program that they hope to answer. And then we want them to take that and share it back with the rest of the group, and then also with friends and family back home. So each on assignment has a trip leader that's dedicated to teaching and working with students on their projects within that on assignment. And the explorers work with all students regardless of their focus. The anthropology, culture, and tradition is offered in Norway, Japan, Costa Rica, and Thailand, as well as middle school Italy and Greece. Climate and geology is offered on our Iceland programs. Technology and robotics is unique to MIT. Photography is offered on all of our programs, as well as the sole focus of the photo workshop and on both middle school programs. And wildlife conservation is offered to Ecuador, Galapagos, Namibia, and Canadian Arctic students. So our trip leaders, I mentioned them briefly. They are incredibly accomplished, just dynamic individuals who love working with students. And many of our leaders come back year after year because they love working with students who are excited to get out in the field and engage with these topics. And so they share their passions with them. They are with the group 24/7 for the duration of the program, and they oversee everything from health and safety to group dynamics, but they're also well established in their fields, and they teach the students throughout the course of the journey. So all of them are also first aid and CPR certified, and safety is a top priority. But I want to quickly introduce a couple of our leaders because they are incredible individuals. Alex Silva is an educator who's taught students ranging from middle school to college, and she is well-versed in everything from remote field work to camera traps, and she's been leading programs with us since 2009 all around the globe. Leonardo Carrizo is a photographer and multimedia journalism professor at The Ohio State University. He's been leading programs with us since 2015. Mariela Vasconcelos is a passionate traveler, educator, dive instructor, and biologist, and her PhD research is focused on neglected tropical diseases, cellular and molecular biology, ecology, and marine biology. And William Liu is a photographer and videographer who's been leading student programs since 2011, primarily programs throughout Asia, Europe, and Scandinavia. So they're all incredible. And we're also excited to have our explorers join each program. So the National Geographic explorers, who I just mentioned earlier, they're change makers and innovators who've been recognized for their exceptional work in their fields and who've received funding and support from the National Geographic Society. They are curious, they are driven, and they push the limit of what we know and just strive to know more about our planet. And like our leaders, they come back year after year because they love working with students and with a very engaged group that joins us each year. So every program has an explorer, and we also refer to them sometimes as a Nat Geo expert. And the explorer joins for 4 to 7 days, with the exception of the photo workshops, on which the expert joins the entire time, and the university workshop, where we have multiple explorers who join for a shorter amount of time. So this page just shows a couple of our explorers, and I'll just quickly run through a little bit of their background. So Dr. Florian Weiss is a big cat researcher and conservationist who spent nearly 2 decades working on reducing conflicts between Africa's big cats and farmers, and he's been joining our program in Namibia for I think since 2012. He's incredible. M. Jackson is a glaciologist and a TED fellow who has spent years studying some of the world's most remote Arctic environments, and she joins us in Iceland. Drew Rush is a wildlife and natural history photographer with a passion for national parks, and he's currently working on several long-term projects in the Yellowstone Tetons for the Nat Geo magazine. Ingi is a storytelling facilitator and social entrepreneur who travels across Europe and the Middle East and North Africa to facilitate personal storytelling journeys that foster empathy, proximity, and collaborations between diverse people and places. And Sheen is a Thai photojournalist and marine biologist who specializes in marine conservation stories. So I would encourage you to go to our website to read the bios for these individuals and all the incredible experts and leaders who will be joining us this summer. So I'm going to very quickly walk through our different programs and then turn it over to Portia and John to discuss Thailand, Yellowstone, and MIT. But first, we're going to go to Canadian Arctic. It is an incredible program. It travels to the town of Churchill, Manitoba, on the shores of the Hudson Bay. And on this program, we're learning about bears, yes, but we're also learning about how climate change has impacted not only the bears of Churchill, but also the community and the people who live there as well. So we spend time speaking with polar bear researchers, Parks Canada guides, local conservation groups, and then we head out on a tundra buggy and on foot to look for bear and caribou, fox, and more. We practice photography. We've had incredible luck seeing the northern lights, and we just observe all of these incredible animals in the wild. But Churchill is also a premier place to spot the beluga whales, and thousands of them gather in the Churchill River during the summer months. So we go out and we have an opportunity to kayak in the waterways and observe them as well. So truly an incredible program, and it has wildlife and photography as you're on assignments there. Costa Rica is their next program, and students will choose between photography or culture and tradition while they explore traditional art forms. So this itinerary is wide-ranging. It goes from the Monteverde Cloud Forest to the Central Valley, and it ends in the Osa Peninsula, which is considered one of the biodiversity hotspots of the world. So on this program, we'll climb trees in Monteverde in search of life in the canopy. We work with local artists to learn about traditional art forms. We summit Cerro Chiripo, the highest peak in Costa Rica, And then when we get down to the Osa Peninsula, we head out daily on hikes to search for and photograph tapirs, jaguars, birds, bats, and all the species that we can come across while we stay in some rustic accommodations fit for a tropical scientist. The Ecuador and Galapagos program, another incredible program. So this explores 3 very different ecosystems. We go to the Mindo Cloud Forest, the high Andes near Cotopaxi, and the Galapagos Islands. At a research station in the cloud forest, we learn about bird banding, wildlife data collection and monitoring. We go ziplining through the forest canopy and hike through the cloud forest with naturalists. When we get to Cotopaxi in the Andes, we learn about the species that live at the high altitude and their unique adaptations. And then we ride horseback across the Paramo looking for Andean condors. And then those who want to can hike up to the glacier in Cotopaxi National Park. From there, we head over to the islands of the Galapagos. We go to 3 of the islands, Isabela, Santa Cruz, and San Cristobal. And this is where we meet with our National Geographic expert as we learn about the landscape and the animals that live in the unique Galapagos environment. The Iceland program is our next program, and that is a 14-day program that begins and ends in the capital of Reykjavik and then circumnavigates the entire island on the scenic ring road, stopping all along the way. So it's a very travel-based program. We spend about 2 days at each stop while we're in Iceland. And we just explore the incredible landscapes of Iceland, both learning about climate and geology, but also about photography. So we'll visit waterfalls and geothermal pools, glaciers, lava tunnels, bubbling mud pots. We're out daily, and we're joined by not only our leaders and our experts, but also Icelandic geologists, glaciologists, ecologists, and adventure guides as we strap on crampons to go glacier trekking, horseback riding, and exploring underground ice caves. So I think a trend you'll see is that we do a lot of exploring and learning, but we also have a lot of fun while we do so. Our next program is our Japan program. So this is an experience that explores both rural and urban Japanese life in equal measure. So we go visit to mega cities like Tokyo and Osaka, and we offset that with visits to rural farming communities and then wildlife and natural preserves. Throughout the program, we do things like make our own soba noodles, we'll learn origami, practice photography, of course, hike, explore natural areas, and see the regional wildlife. And on this program, our expert is Hiroki Kobayashi, who was born in Hiroshima and has created many projects relating to second-generation atomic bomb survivors and families. And we are thrilled to have him with us to join us on our journey. The Namibia program is our next program, and that offers students the opportunity to work with wildlife researchers and veterinarians to engage with conservation organizations and local education groups and learn more about the different approaches to conservation efforts that are being done in Namibia, particularly those focused on big cats, rhinos, giraffe, and elephants. So the group will visit a variety of landscapes. We go to the red sand dunes, we go to the desert, we go to the savanna, the Atlantic coast. We spend a couple of nights in Etosha National Park, as well as visiting some private wildlife sanctuaries. And this is just an incredible program for photographers, but also for anyone who's interested in working in the fields of wildlife biology or conservation. Norway is our next program, and then I'll turn it over to Portia. So the Norway program travels our spectacular landscape of Norway, starting in the mountains of Jotunheimen National Park and then heading to the capital of Oslo. And we continue from Oslo up to the Lofoten Islands, high above the Arctic Circle, and end in Bergen, which is our jumping off point for exploring Norway's famous fjords. So this itinerary has a lot of outdoor adventure. We go kayaking, we go hiking and trekking, and it's in some remarkably beautiful locations. So those are all of our programs that I'm going to speak about. And now I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Portia, who is going to talk to you about the Thailand program that she directs and helped and created.
All right, thank you, Hannah. As she said, my name is Portia Watson. I direct the Thailand program, and I've lived and worked there for many years, so I get very passionate about it. I love to talk about my programs there. So I'll try to keep it brief, but if you have questions about the program, please call me anytime. Love to talk about it. So on the Thailand program, students select either photography or anthropology, culture, and tradition as their on-assignment themes, and they explore regions throughout the central and northern areas of Thailand. It ranges from the national park Khao Yai, which is about 2 hours north of Bangkok, where students have opportunities to see wildlife such as elephants, gibbons, to the far north of the country in Chiang Rai and Chiang Mai provinces, where students have opportunities to visit different Highland tribe communities, see elephants, and also see the ornate temples of the two provinces. So one of the special things about this program is that students will get to visit some of Thailand's must-see sites, but they'll be staying at homestays and small family-owned guest houses, which really allows them to explore Thai culture in greater depth. I'll go over some options for the on-assignment themes and throw out a few examples from our group last year as I talk about the program in more detail. So this program is designed to explore the tapestry of communities that make up Thailand, as well as the country's history. It begins in Ayutthaya, which is in the center of the country, and it's the ancient capital of Old Siam, it's dotted with ancient structures and temples of the old city, as well as evidence of the destruction by the Burmese in the 1700s. So here students explore the old city and its historical parks. They learn about the architectural and cultural influences of other Southeast Asian kingdoms in the forming of Siam, while staying at a small family-run guest house. On-assignment groups have amazing photo and anthropology opportunities while exploring the ancient city's architecture and history during this stop. Students also get to go to Khao Yai National Park for one night during their stay in Ayutthaya. We usually do a night safari there, and we also do a daytime wildlife tour. It's actually considered a very special event to see wild elephants in the park, which our groups did last summer, and that was a very special moment for them. After spending some time in central Thailand and exploring Ayutthaya, we fly north to Chiang Rai, where we stay at an old elementary school turned modern homestay right in the city center. From there, we set out to explore the mountain communities of Mae Salong and Doi Tung. There we learn about the various ethnic minorities which make up northern Thailand along the border with Myanmar. And we also participate in a day of exchange with local high school students. We learn how to make eco-prints with the Thai artists, and we visit the city's many unique temples, such as the famous White Temple or Wat Rong Kun, which is in a lot of pictures, it looks like it came right out of the Frozen Disney movie. From Chiang Rai, we then head 3 hours south to Chiang Mai, which is Thailand's second largest city. We stay in a quiet suburb there where we're surrounded with ancient structures of the Lana Kingdom, which once spanned portions of modern-day Thailand and Myanmar. And here we learn about Buddhism through offering alms to monks at a temple that's right across from our guest house. We hike an old pilgrimage trail to a forest temple on our way to the holy site of Doi Suthep, and more. We also visit the city's many bustling markets, evening walking streets, and participate in a Thai cooking class. So last year, our photography and anthropology on assignment groups, they chose projects focused on Buddhism because you have a lot of opportunities to explore that and the role it plays in Thai society. And they also had opportunities to speak to practicing monks and learn a bit more about that. The program ends with a homestay in a Karen community, which is deeper into Chiang Mai province, where a local elephant sanctuary is rewilding retired elephants from the tourism industry with the help of local mahouts, which are caretakers. Here, students get to learn about the symbiotic relationship between the Karen people and elephants, and we'll have opportunities to trek into the jungle each day to observe the animals in their natural habitat. It's a really, really amazing place and opportunity. And in the evening, students can enjoy dinner with their host families and learn about traditional Karen crafts such as weaving and basket making, and do workshops on those as well. So some of our on-assignment groups last summer, they used this homestay experience to explore the role that elephants play in Karen culture and in Thai society at large. They had opportunities to interview their homestay host and also interview elephant sanctuary staff, which is a really neat experience for them. And like I said, I love to talk about it. So if you are interested, please do give me a call and I would be happy to give you more information. But for now, I'll go ahead and pass it to my colleague, John, to talk about the Yellowstone photo workshop.
Thank you, Portia. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. My name is John Ralston, and I work as a program director here at National Geographic Student Travel. I'm also a photographer and have been leading our student travel program since 2018. Today, I'm going to talk about two of the programs I direct, the photo workshop in Yellowstone and the engineering and robotics university workshop on the MIT campus. Yellowstone, I actually got the chance to lead this program last year. It's a 9-day program that starts in the picturesque town of Bozeman, Montana, at Montana State University. The group will spend 2 nights here, getting to know each other and preparing for the time in Yellowstone National Park. This is the time during which students will begin to consider their ideas for projects as leaders introduce the areas they will be traveling to, the techniques and fundamentals they'll be learning, and laying out the itinerary for the rest of the program. As Hannah mentioned earlier, joining the program for the entire duration will be Drew Rush. He is a National Geographic photographer who has led this program for many years. He's also a former guide and has worked in the park extensively and is incredibly knowledgeable and helpful as an expert. He has a passion for sharing his story with students, and he's incredibly generous with his time and availability. He's constantly providing expertise, whether it's in the more formal settings like his slideshow presentations, all the way to the time that he spends in the van with students, where they'll get a chance to connect with him and ask him question after question, which he never ceases to grow tired of. So he is a key factor in the growth of students' skills and creativity that they will develop throughout this program. The group stays in simple yet comfortable lodging in Cook City, Montana for 4 nights, which puts them in a prime location for their exploration of the park. The students have a chance to share meal prep responsibilities and will often pack picnic lunches to be enjoyed while they're out exploring, going on photo shoots and going on hikes. There's still spots available in both units of this program, so if you're interested, please give us a call and reserve your space soon. Days in the park are typically full-day photography excursions. We really try and maximize the short time that we have there to really get as much photography in as possible. Drew and the leaders will be working ahead of time to create a route for each day that offers the best chances to see wildlife, stopping at key vistas and locations along the way. The prime wildlife spotting hours in the park are at sunrise and sunset, and these times are also when the park is most free from the tourist crowd. So students get to experience the park in the same way that professional photographers and researchers do. So those days start very early with a drive into the park to be sure to catch the sunrise and potentially spot some wildlife, visiting the most beautiful natural sights in the afternoons, and ending with time for editing and some photo presentations after they get back to the accommodations. Alternatively, on some days, they may opt to prioritize the sunset and have a chance to do some astrophotography. There is so little light pollution there that it's just, you can really get a great look at the stars on clear nights. So some of the pictures we have here on this slide, in the left there is a view of the lower falls in the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. Below that is the Grand Prismatic Spring, which is Yellowstone's largest hot spring. In the middle there is Old Faithful, of course, and you can see the students out on a hike there in the top right, and some of the beautiful wildflowers that are present throughout the park. These are, it's a beautiful shot of silvery lupine. So with the guidance of the leaders and experts, students will learn techniques and strategies for how best to capture the scenes throughout the park. And we always hope that there are ample opportunities to see wildlife. There will be different locations that have higher concentrations of these animals, and Drew is incredibly knowledgeable about where these places are. We'll be driving along and he'll say, up around this next corner is a great place to see bears, or a great place to see moose after this next valley. And 5 minutes later, that's what we see. It's really amazing. His knowledge of these species and these locations is really special. So, the more common species will definitely be seeing elk and bison, marmot, white-tailed jackrabbit, and snowshoe hare, and always hoping to spot the wolves, the moose, the bears, black bears, and grizzly bears. So the wildlife is something that we're always looking to find, and Drew and the leaders will make sure that we're doing it safely and in the most creative way possible to make sure that students have those great opportunities. The group will then return to MSU for the final 2 nights of the program, where they will prepare for their pop-up gallery show, which is curated by Drew on the last night at a public gallery space in town in Bozeman. Each student gets to print one large image to put on display, and it's open to the public, but it's really a great chance for friends and family to come and celebrate the students' hard work and accomplishments. But I will say this past year, the students were very active in their advertising of the show. They designed flyers and they stood out on the corner and got a great crowd in from the street, which was really exciting. And we even had members of the public who were curious about buying prints, which was really exciting for the students to have that as a possibility. So it's a really fun time, and there's refreshments, and it's really a great way to cap the program off. I'll now share some details about the engineering and robotics program at MIT. On this program, students learn about the innovative ways that explorers and scientists are using technology, robotics, artificial intelligence, and science to further explore and protect the world. Through interactive workshops, visits to labs, and workspaces at MIT and across Cambridge, students will be challenged to think creatively about problem solving and to consider new ways that these technologies can be applied to solve challenges both in their communities at home and worldwide. This is a 10-day program with 2 date ranges in July. There's a cap of 50 students for each program, and we are already over half full with both programs. So if you're interested in this one, I encourage you to reserve space sooner than later. We're joined by our expert Skylar Tibbetts, who is the co-founder of the Self-Assembly Lab at MIT and an assistant professor of design research in the Department of Architecture. Skylar has been the expert on this program for several years and will be hosting our group in his lab while he shares some of his past projects and ongoing research, hosts an interactive workshop, and guides the students on their own independent projects. Another main activity I'd love to speak about is the hackathon. During this workshop, students will be working in groups to build and program a smart camera that uses AI to further conservation and sustainability efforts in new and impactful ways. It is a great exercise in coding, teamwork, creativity, and storytelling. The workshop is designed to be fun and challenging for all experience levels. It's a really cool, some of the pictures there are from that workshop. Some of the other departments we'll be working with at MIT include the Space Exploration Initiative at the MIT Media Lab, the MIT Museum Workshop, the Nuclear Reactor and Attenuation Lab, and the Wright Brothers Wind Tunnel. We'll also get a chance to explore Cambridge and the Boston area, kayak in the harbor, and visit the Harvard National History Museum. Some examples of what we've done in previous years include building underwater ROVs with the MIT Media Lab and piloting them in the Boston Harbor, and learning about the applications of AI across various disciplines, including how it can be used to help farmers with crop yield in drought-stricken areas in the world. We've experimented with how AI and satellite imagery can be used to identify and stop poaching in the Amazon, explored the possibilities of 3D printers and heat-sensitive materials, learned about the innovative urban agricultural advances, and more. There are a lot of exciting opportunities that we are planning for this coming summer and currently working to include as many as possible. And what we do this year is so dependent on the latest developments that are happening at MIT. What we're doing is truly cutting edge. So there are still things that are in the works, and each year is different based on what's going on, with the latest developments in technology and what is the focus at MIT at that time. So a typical day on this program is very structured, and we are packing a lot of different topics and themes in, but there's still a lot of flexibility for the leaders to curate the experience as they get to know the group and learn what the students are most interested in. As Hannah had mentioned before, our leadership team is made up of experienced educators and professionals who are working tirelessly to ensure a stimulating and safe experience for every student. And if I can try and sum up what makes this program unique, it would be that it gives students the opportunity to learn about the latest technology, and it challenges them to think about alternative ways in which they can apply that tech to solve problems in their home communities. This allows them to implement a practical and creative application of these learned skills, something that they don't often get a chance to experience until college. Students will have to rely on each other in a team setting and cooperate to achieve common goals. With that, I will pass it back to Hannah, and she'll conclude some of the rest of this webinar. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And definitely give us a call if you want to talk about any of those programs. As you can tell, we love these programs and are happy to answer any questions you have, specific or general. So please give us a call. But for now, I'm just going to quickly dive into our middle school programs. So we have two of those, as I mentioned previously. Our middle school program in Iceland allows students to explore both photography and climate science and geology alongside their leaders in the National Geographic Explorer. On this program, the group will visit the Golden Circle and walk between the North American and Eurasian tectonic plates. They visit a modern geothermal plant, and it has a lot of outdoor exploration. Glacier trekking, riding Icelandic horses, hiking to waterfalls and geysers. So an incredible program on which students can learn about the geology of Iceland, early settlers, folklore, and its mythological history as well. Our other middle school program is our middle school program in Italy and Greece. So on this program, students choose either photography or anthropology, culture, and tradition as they journey through Italy and Greece. And it visits sites that really exemplify the clash and sometimes synergy of ancient and modern in these locations. So in Italy, they're based in Florence and then also travel to Lucca. And in Greece, they visit Nafplio and the island of Crete. And this program is great for students who are interested in Greek mythology. Its itinerary visits the mythical birthplace of Zeus, as well as some other notable stops. And the emphasis of this program and all of our programs is on really engaging in immersive activities that are educational. So we'll prepare traditional Greek and Italian dishes, we'll bike around the ancient walls of Lucca, and we visit a small organic farm in Nafplio. So those are all of our programs. As I said, I would encourage you to reach out to our office and speak with the director if there's any programs that you'd like to hear more about. We're always happy to chat through those itineraries, but I wanted to quickly touch on our application process. And if you have any questions that haven't been answered yet, please feel free to put those in the chat down below. And we'll get those answered for you. But our application process, we are currently accepting applications. As John mentioned, some of our programs are getting closer to filling, but we do presently have space. We try to keep it as simple as possible, but we really want to get to know you as a participant and what it is that you're interested in and excited about with these programs. So the online application is basic information, name, address, grade. We'll ask you to choose a first and a second choice for your seminar. And then it will ask you for a deposit to hold space in the program. That is a $700 payment, which is a $500 tuition deposit and a $200 application fee. And that will hold your space in the program of your first choice if there is space in that program, while you get the rest of the pieces in. And the other pieces are a short personal statement, a paragraph or two about why you want to join this program, what you're curious about. And that's really helpful for us to get to know your motivation for coming, but also for your leaders and for your expert to get to know you in advance and know what questions you have and what you're excited about. And then we ask for 2 teacher or educator references. And it's a short, it's an online form. You can just give us their email address. We send that off to them, but we want to, make sure that everybody's coming for the right reasons and it's the right fit for everybody. We do a lot of building a community on these programs, engaging, learning. So we just want to make sure that it's the right step for everyone. And once we have those pieces, our admissions team can make a pretty quick decision and get back to you. And then once you're accepted into the program, you get access to what's called a digital locker, which is your one-stop shop for everything you need to know for the summer. It will have your packing list. It will have your travel information, information on the summer blog that the leaders keep, all of that kind of stuff. And that is it. So during the summer months, I just mentioned the blog. Our office is open 24/7, supporting our programs in the field. If parents have questions, they can always give us a call. And we also have that blog that I just mentioned that family and friends can follow along with if they want to know what's going on in the program. So that is all of our questions, all of our programs for now. I do also want to quickly mention that we do have a scholarship program as well. So we do offer funding for students who wouldn't otherwise be able to attend these programs and have these opportunities. So definitely check out our website. The deadline is the 24th of this month, or until we've received 300 scholarship applications. So if you're interested in scholarships, please do check that out. And that is it for now. So let me see if there's any questions that have come in that I could answer. We do still have space. I see there's a question about space for Ecuador and Galapagos. We do still have space on the Ecuador and Galapagos expedition. And do you need to come with project ideas? This is specific to MIT, but this is a good question for all of them. You don't. I think that it is good to think about what your questions are. And as we share more information, as you get closer to the summer, you'll have a letter from the experts that will be joining the program. You'll learn who your leaders are. The leaders post the first blog in early June before the program commences, and they might pose some questions. So I think that as you learn more about the program, hopefully that sparks curiosity and that sparks questions. You don't have to come with anything prepared though, unless your leader or experts ask you to come with something in mind. So I think that these programs are students that are curious about the world. There's a question about, acceptance rate. I think that not every student wants to go and study, geology in Iceland or wants to study wildlife photography or be a photographer. And I think that's one of the magic of these programs is it brings together students who are curious about these topics and who do want to engage in those questions. So we do tend to find it self-selecting in that sense. And a lot of students who come are prepared to engage. But we do want to make sure it's the right fit, as I mentioned before. We don't look at transcripts. We're not looking at grammar in the personal essay. We just want to make sure that everyone is prepared to get the most out of the experience and that they're going to contribute to, the inclusive and supportive community that we're trying to create as well. So I hope that answers all of those questions. Again, I would encourage you to call us. The phone number is there on the screen, but it's also our website, and we'll email this out to all of you as well in case you wanted to review anything with students or with family or friends. But we'd love to chat with you if you have any specific questions. So please do give us a call. And thank you again for joining us today. It's been so fun to talk about these programs. Have a great afternoon.